cover all the important issues. We cover climate change, social issues, human rights, animal rights, and everything that's important to us and our society. I'd like to introduce you to Adam Bellamy, and we've just watched his film Vulnerable. We've just watched your very moving portrayal of your film called Vulnerable, about a young man who confronts his past. Would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's based completely on an experience that happened to me when I was 10. So it's effectively the everything you see in the past is real. That really happened to me, and the film was kind of like, the idea was taking assessing what would happen between someone who had been abused as a child being able to confront their abuser. So basically all of the contemporary scenes are an idea of how that conversation might go, and as a way of sort of as a conduit to explore the sort of things that you feel going into adulthood, when it has long-lasting effects on your sort of state, and there are questions you want to ask. So that's really why.
Was it being based upon a real-life experience? Did you find the writing of it cathartic?
That's funny, actually. That's like the most asked question for sure. I'd say setting out, it wasn't necessarily what I expected it to be. Any sort of catharsism came through making it. So I didn't really have any need to, hear the answers from the real Mr. Amble himself. But I essentially played myself, right, in it, but I've given him different characteristics, and he would go to places that I necessarily wouldn't. Now, having to write and put words in an abuser's mouth, basically, as to how he might respond, in a way to explore, the feelings from both sides, that I guess was challenging, but also led me to some, it was quite cathartic in a way. So I didn't think I'd unpacked it as much as I, needed to, and the film provided that. So, yeah.
And how difficult a decision was it to actually play yourself in the film?
Yeah, like I say, it was interesting because it's so personal to me. I didn't want to make George completely identical. So to say, I gave him, he needed to hear some of those answers directly from Mr. Amble's mouth, whereas I don't necessarily feel like I do. So in some ways he differs to me because he's had the courage to really find out a few things, I mean, that said, having made the film, maybe I would ask those questions now if I were to really meet him. But yeah, it's effectively when I watch it, I don't see myself, but in a way I sort of think, well, I wonder if that's how I would behave, and maybe I do align myself with some of the questions we asked in the film, which I think was only kind of a natural thing to happen when it's based on your own story, right? So yeah.
I think what's very interesting too is that you don't paint a black and white picture. There's a lot of grey there. There's a lot of some of the cinematography when the young boy looks back and he's saying, how could I not fall in love? And I think as an audience member, you kind of are drawn into that scenario, which is scary actually, because that's a really scary concept. And I think it invokes in the audience, that whole concept of right, wrong and grey areas and things. And I think as a society, it really draws that out, and it would be fantastic to have a debate about that. Do you hope that the film will lead to bigger questions being asked about how we protect children, how we look after children?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, really, at its heart, it's Vulnerable as a societal mission film. It gives voice to a character that we all really, deem inherently evil, right? Society. So of course, it's uncomfortable then to hear what can appear as, you know, a genuine sense of, well, I have these feelings, you know. So in order to be able to move past this issue and solve the issue of you know, those kind of people and the behaviour that they've done, you have to be able to explore what they might say in order to find out the origin of that behaviour and therefore try and stop it and recognise it. So that kind of ambiguity that teeters between truth and deception, that provokes the things you were saying, that almost sense of empathy, it's deliberate, yeah, and it is meant to open up this conversation. You know, the film doesn't waver in the condemnation in Mr. Amble, but it does kind of force you to chime in with your empathy in a way to then make you feel as if you're feeling like almost manipulated yourself, or are you? What's true, you know? So yeah, it is designed to try and provoke this unease, but to move forward to a progressive kind of answer, really.
I think some of that came across too in the way that you portrayed him as a kind of almost, you know, he was obviously an adult but very gleeful and very childlike,
Yeah.
whereas obviously predatory people take on that persona thing. It must have made exceptionally difficult watching for your family, who I guess looked at it through different eyes.
Yeah, and particularly,
I have to remember, in my case, up and I live with my mum, so it's not that my mum has anything to do with letting me out with this man, you know, because it casts a real shadow. It's not just the child that's manipulated or rude, it's their whole family. So you know, it's not just the mothers, it's fathers, it's everyone family. So that said, I know my mum, when we spoke about it, you know, of course there's an inherent sense of feeling guilty because you know she's holding herself up against daily standards, because thank God stories and experiences like mine have half the way out of the children's rights to be much stronger. So of course she feels guilty, but I mean, I've said to her, look, it's and I say to anyone who's gone through this or has to have anything similar, it's no one's fault. You know, this is what happened, and you were part of that. Yeah, it's, I mean, even for me to watch it, it's you know, to the letter of basically true. I remember the letters we wrote to each other. You know, he put my arm around his shoulder and the things he would say. But I genuinely think, like you were saying about the predatory side of things. We work with a children's social worker with a expertise in criminal justice settings. She also used to be an actor professionally, which is quite handy. But she worked with children offenders like Mr. Amble, and said that effectively there's two types of these offenders. There's ones that we all know, they all are predatory really, but there's ones that really act on it and get off from that perhaps. Whereas there's others who, if we make strides on films like this to stop behaviour in the first place, they see it as if they can't help it, like you and I can fall in love, they just see it as like a young soul. So and that's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to think that he was perhaps thinking of that me. But the thing is, you have to think, well, what if he really was? And you know, he's, as you see in the film, he's kind of hurt by the accusation, the happiness they experienced, specifically that was anything but real. And of course, it skirts around the whole, putting up the facade, and there's all sorts of false compliance and things going on with people like that. But in this sense, in this scenario, he's not able to be 50 steps ahead like they normally are. So maybe some of it is true. You see some of their memories alive.
I think it'd be an amazing film to take around to schools and colleges and perhaps young people's social clubs and things, because it raises that awareness that children are so innocent, so naive, that there can be things going on that they just don't see because they're blindsided by their innocence. Do you have any plans to do anything else with the film?
Once it's the finished its festival circuit, it's done really well actually, and the brilliant thing, but also the sort of harrowing thing, is I've been to festivals across Europe where lots of people across the world have been there, and sadly the story is so familiar to so many people, and people, the idea is that you can look at where your own child or someone else's child sits in the spectrum of the film. But it's also great that it's kind of chiming all over the world, because this is the idea, like you said, to try and get this sort of awareness of sort of long-lasting psychological effects it has on adulthood. And survival guilt, because that's really present in it. You know, George and myself as well thought he had this amazing happy childhood with this loving friend, and those happiness really was real. But of course, I actually moved on and made new friends before I realised what he was really trying to do, which is why, you know, there's a line in it that says, can you imagine having a place to go to be safe and happy and finding out it never existed? The injustice of it all is like, you gave me what I thought was a great memory, whereas actually was it? So yeah, I would say going into schools or working with charities to show that side of the experience, I think would be beneficial, but also it kind of, you know, there's a little nod to it what you decide, you know, at the end, where I don't want to spoilers, but you're left in a very ambiguous situation whereby you can say, well, is this sort of behaviour that I could be looking out for? Have I just been lied to? Have I not? Or is it, you know? So yeah, I think it's a very complex thing to unpack. And I think the film does that. So when into schools or anything like that, I think it would be. I'd be really curious as to how that would tip, because you know it's not. I laugh a minute, like I said.
So you acted in this fantastically, and you also wrote it. How do you feel about having done those different roles now? Because primarily you were an actor before.
Yeah, I mean, the film, so I you know, good Lord, I have so much respect. Filmmakers is an unbelievable amount of work, it really is, and I feel like I've gained a skill set which I didn't have before. So you know, there's huge value in that alone. But writing it and acting it, also directing it. The thing is, when you're acting, I had to take off the director's hat and the writer's hat. I had a co-director for the bits that I was in, and we workshopped it. They were there throughout the whole process, so they knew I could trust. You know, I could trust them with the integrity of it. But you do have to going in there as an actor, as I really did the job. And of course, when I'm in the writing or workshopping it, that you're not thinking of it as a actor. How would this come off? You know, for me, in the scene, it's about the intention of the piece and what the audience are going to go through, and being economic with what they're saying. And you're writing for someone like Mr. Ramble, who is an expert at being, you know, picky with words and manipulating. Yeah, you have to sort of really submerge yourself in it, really.
So now that you have written and acted and directed your first film, what's next?
You knew that. No, primarily I am an actor, and this was a very personal story to me, so you know, that's why I had so much involvement in it, because I had the story to tell. I really wanted to tell it in the way that was most authentic. Again, I was playing Jordan as well. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I certainly feel that I could do another one. I think I'm running with by way of, you know, what's involved. But I think I'm quite passionate about the fact that it's based on truth. So I think if there was anything I was going to do, it would be something that's either very close to me, happened to me, or funding, or working with someone who can provide that. So nothing at the moment, but there's something that's a bit too close to home at the moment to write about. But perhaps I should try a comedy.
I think we'll be seeing a lot more of your films coming up. Just opening up to the audience, is there anyone else who has a question?
Statement all those questions. Well done. I think it's the first film. Fantastic. And your acting as well. Really spot on. Absolutely spot on. So I'm really impressed. Well done with that. And it was for me. I wasn't expecting it because I didn't know what that film was about. I just think the way it was acted between you, Mr. Anderson, and Adam. Like you say, it was that. It was just so well done. It's hard to describe that you almost could see each side of it. But you wasn't sure whether it was genuine or whether it was like crap on being found out.
Yeah.
You know, I took my way out of it because it was such a happy feeling that was true. But then you just don't know, do you? You just don't know as soon as you've left the shop of like, he's like, oh crap, you know, what's going to happen next sort of thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's pulling on the heartstrings through a character like that puts you in the sort of scene of being uncomfortable, but also perhaps experiencing some of the manipulation that a victim does in that situation, which is very, very deliberate. So I'm glad you picked that up. And Miles, who plays Mr. Amble, is someone I've known for a really long time. And when I wrote it, I had in mind, but actually he also had a really big part to play in the carving out of character. Workshopped it with him. So and actually the boy who plays young George is his goddaughter's brother. So they've known each other for a long time. And the chemistry was perfect. Very convenient that. Except I had to wear brown contact lenses. I had to wear blue, his brown. It's easier for him, easier for me to do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
First of all, you make me cry. Thanks for that. I was wondering, when it comes to Mr. Amble, George lets him get away with what he did. Then you have like this shot of him maybe pulling back the cars maybe. Do you think that redemption for people like him is possible? It's just like waiting that he went back to his old friends.
Well, so there's no definite answer to that quite deliberately, because with regards to the way it concludes or not is because I didn't want to make a film that just had a nice bone at the end and said that these people are this, you know, because then there wouldn't be any way of saying, if we only realised these things earlier, then this could have been stopped. But like I say, there is also that moment of, is this the moment where it's happening again? It's a nod aside, not to criticise the way the criminal justice sector works with rehabilitation of these kind of offenders and what triggers them. Is this the moment where has he been doing this to the lad that's there at the end, or is this the moment that started? I can't help it, So the football sickness thing is a device to try and show perhaps what is his true intention, perhaps.
I think though, even when you have a situation when they have been so-called rehabilitated, whether they truly are or not, the society and the community doesn't have anything to do with that, you know, which is why I think we saw him at the end looking out the window. You know, he was concerned that the lady that he worked with, the other volunteer, was going to be told, wasn't he?
Yeah, so the choice to have it in a shop like that, which is a community asset, which means it's basically a place run by the people who live there, very beautiful, lovely, idyllic, you know, village. So in reality, that really is a community asset as well. So we were lucky there. The idea was that it's a working shop. So the jeopardy is there surrounding what anyone could walk in at any moment. And of course, I mean, depending on the level of their offence, these people are, you know, integrated back into society, and often they'll get volunteer work. And there is, they say we're very lucky. She says we're very lucky in our volunteers, you know. And also in a community like that, though you may not even live there, but works there, you know, it's completely believable that, you know, someone like that would know the local kid's name, know that it's his birthday, and give him free stickers or whatever, you know. So this was all deliberate to heighten the sense of injustice to someone like George. It was like this idea of how someone like this should be living, which obviously fans and flames, you know, feels in to be like, you know, I know who you are. I'm essentially that's to know it's from his past life by saying Mr. Ramble, because you know he's called by another name in the film. If you didn't catch that, but there's lots of little things about that subtle. Yeah.
So Adam, how can our viewers keep in touch with you and follow your progress?
Yeah, the film has a website actually. Was that 4 W's? www.vulnerableshortfilm.com. On there's also information about support in general for anyone who may have experienced child abuse or knows someone or suspects someone who has or is. Yeah, and there's a press kit and everything you can find out there. All our social handles are on there as well. So do give us a follow.
So we can find you on Facebook and Twitter and...
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, yeah, X as it is now, but Twitter. Yeah, and the website.
And before we go, I know you wanted to give a special call out to your musical score.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame nothing prompted me to really, but the two characters are pretty much tied by this underpinning note throughout the score, which is, it kind of goes hand in hand with the sense of you kind of drawn into the past. But Trevor Wensley, who's the composer, wrote, it's completely composed to the picture. That was very tough thing to do, particularly as it was pretty much done all remotely at the time. But yeah, no, it's very nice to be able to call out artists such as him, because I think it's a really important part of the journey. You know, the sound is king in any film, really. I mean, you really have to don't underestimate the sound if you're ever going to make a film. That was the advice I got given. So
brilliant. So just once more for our audience, can you just go through that website again that everybody can follow?
Yeah, it's www.vulnerableshortfilm.com, and there's all sorts of things you can find on there with support with regards to child abuse and things like that. Yeah, which the film obviously deals with. So.
Well, it was lovely talking to you.
Thank you very much. Lovely to talk to you.